Welcome back, everybody. It's January 9th, 2025, and we're ready to dive into episode 3 of the Deep Dive. Got two really fascinating topics lined up for you today. First up, we're heading over to Malawi, getting into their film scene where things are, well, they're getting pretty interesting, to say the least. And then we'll switch gears completely, explore some really practical advice for actors out there, especially if you're, getting ready for auditions.
Sounds like a great mix. Yeah, let's jump right in.
All right, so picture this, okay? A fashion entrepreneur, no prior experience in filmmaking, suddenly elected as the president of Malawi's Film Association. I mean, that's exactly what's happened with Dorothy Kingston, and the film community is buzzing about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a surprising turn of events. To really understand the significance, I think we need a little bit of context. So the Film Association of Malawi, it's known as Fama. It plays a really crucial role in supporting and promoting Malawian filmmakers. They advocate for the industry, provide training resources, even help connect filmmakers with potential investors. So the president has a lot of influence, over the direction of the industry as a whole.
Okay, so this isn't just like a figurehead position. Kingston's really at the helm of an organization that shapes the landscape of Malawian cinema.
Exactly. And Dorothy Kingston, she's a household name in Malawi. But for her successful fashion empire, not for film. What's even more fascinating is that she won the election over Florisuya, who is a really well-established figure within the Malawian film community.
Wow, that's a real shakeup.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what kind of vision she has for Fama in the industry. Is she going to champion local stories and talent? Or is she going to try and, attract more international productions?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think some people are optimistic. They see her business acumen as a huge asset. Malawian filmmakers often struggle to secure funding and distribution. They rely heavily on international grants. So Kingston's experience could be a game changer, potentially bringing in new investment and opening doors to international collaborations. I mean, imagine a film festival spotlighting Malawian cinema on a global stage.
Oh, that would be incredible. But I imagine not everyone is thrilled about this outsider coming in.
You're right. There's definitely a lot of skepticism, too. Some fear that she might prioritize attracting those foreign productions over nurturing the local talent. They worry that she lacks the understanding of the specific challenges that Malawian filmmakers face and might not be as sensitive to the cultural nuances that make their films unique.
Yeah, it's interesting how her background can be seen as both a strength and a weakness. It's almost like she's walking a tightrope.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
On one side, you have the potential for innovation and growth. But on the other, there's the risk of losing sight of what makes Malawian cinema special.
And while we wait to see what direction Kingston takes Fama in, let's shift gears to another creative field where success often hinges on preparation and understanding, acting. We've got some great tips for aspiring actors in our next segment.
Right. From the bright lights of Malawi's film scene, we're taking a turn into the world of acting. The more we talk about these seemingly different fields, the more I see some interesting parallels. It's all about bringing a vision to life, whether it's on a national scale or in a single performance.
That's a great observation. And just like Dorothy Kingston needs to understand the landscape of Malawian film to succeed, actors need to really understand their craft and the industry they're navigating.
Absolutely. Speaking of understanding the craft, we've got a sneak peek into a podcast series that dives deep into that very topic. It's called Nailing the Audition, Quick Tips for Actors. The title alone makes me want to take notes.
Yeah, it's a fantastic resource, especially for those who are just starting out or looking to up their audition game. They break down the process in a really practical and insightful way.
So let's dive into some of those juicy tips. What are some of the key takeaways from this series?
Well, right off the bat, they emphasize the importance of going beyond simply memorizing lines. In the very first episode, they talk about the importance of truly understanding the character you're auditioning for.
I can see how that would make a huge difference. It's not just about reciting words. It's about embodying a person, their motivations, their complexities.
Exactly. And they frame it in a really interesting way. They ask, what does the character want? That simple question can unlock so much about a character's behavior and choices.
Oh, that's a great point. I imagine that question can help you make bolder choices as an actor and bring more depth to your performance.
When you're given a script on the spot and have to perform it with little to no preparation. It's a skill in itself.
Oh, I can only imagine how intimidating that must be.
Yeah.
What's their secret to mastering the cold read?
One of their biggest pieces of advice is to stay adaptable. Casting directors often change things up on the spot to see how you react under pressure. It's all about thinking on your feet and being open to direction.
So being able to go with the flow is just as important as nailing the lines. Any other nuggets of wisdom from the Nailing the Audition folks?
They also offer some great advice on managing audition nerves, which, let's be honest, can be a real beast for actors.
Oh, I bet that's a big one. What do they recommend?
Well, they talk about the value of mindfulness and breathing exercises to help calm your nerves before you walk into the audition room.
You know, those are techniques that can benefit anyone, not just actors. I've found that taking a few deep breaths before a big presentation or meeting can really help center me and focus my energy.
Absolutely. They're powerful tools for managing anxiety in any situation.
Okay, so we've got understanding the character, mastering the cold read, and calming those nerves. What else do actors need to know to truly nail that audition?
Well, in a somewhat surprising twist, they delve into what casting directors are truly looking for. It goes beyond just acting talent.
I'm intrigued. What are some of those hidden qualities that casting directors are searching for?
They highlight things like authenticity preparation and that adaptability we just talked about. They stress that it's important to be yourself and let your personality shine through.
That's a really refreshing perspective. It's not about trying to fit into a preconceived mold. It's about bringing your own unique energy and perspective to the role.
Exactly. And they go even further by dedicating a whole episode to the often dreaded callback or second audition.
Oh yeah, those always seemed even more nerve-wracking than the first audition. You've already made it through one round, so the pressure's on.
I know what you mean. But the podcast actually encourages actors to see callbacks as a positive thing. It means you've already impressed them enough to warrant another look.
That's a great way to reframe those anxieties. It's an opportunity, not a threat.
So what kind of advice do they offer for acing the callback? They emphasize using the feedback from the first audition to improve your performance. Don't just repeat the same thing. Show them you're listening. You're open to direction, and you're eager to refine your approach.
That shows a level of professionalism and dedication that I'm sure casting directors appreciate. It's about being a collaborative partner in the process.
Exactly. And finally, they acknowledge that auditioning for different media, film, TV, theater, commercials, each comes with its own unique set of challenges and considerations.
That makes perfect sense. I can imagine that the energy and style needed for a stage play would be drastically different from a quick-hitting commercial spot.
Precisely. They offer some really specific advice tailored to each medium.
This is all such valuable advice, even for someone like me who's not a professional actor. I'm definitely going to keep these tips in mind.
Me too. It's amazing how much we can learn from other fields, even if they seem worlds apart. Whether it's a fashion entrepreneur leading a film association or an actor nailing an audition, the underlying principles of preparation, understanding your audience, and staying adaptable really resonate.
I completely agree. And both of our topics today ultimately touch on the power of storytelling and its ability to shape culture.
That's a great point. We've talked about the potential impact of Dorothy Kingston's leadership on Malawian cinema and how those ripples could even reach a global audience. And then we explore the intricate process of bringing a character to life through acting, which is essentially storytelling at its most personal level.
It's all connected in a way. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's worth leaving our listeners with some food for thought.
I love that idea.
So let's circle back to Dorothy Kingston. We've discussed her background, the potential benefits and concerns surrounding her leadership. But here's the big question for our listeners. Do you think someone from outside the film industry can effectively lead Fama and bring about positive change?
It's a complex issue with compelling arguments on both sides. On the one hand, you could argue that fresh perspectives are exactly what the industry needs. Someone who isn't entrenched in the old ways of doing things might be able to shake things up and bring in innovative solutions.
But then there's the question of experience. Does Kingston have the knowledge and understanding of the filmmaking process to truly advocate for the needs of Malawian filmmakers? Does she have the cultural sensitivity to champion stories that are authentically Malawian?
That's the crux of the debate. It'll be interesting to see how she balances her business acumen with the artistic side of the industry. Will she prioritize building up the infrastructure and resources for local filmmakers, or will her focus be more on the business side, trying to make the industry more commercially viable?
And for our listeners who are actors or aspiring actors, I think that Nailing the Audition series really highlights the power of mindset. It's not just about talent. It's about preparation, confidence, and the willingness to be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And as we leave you to ponder these fascinating topics, I have a little challenge for you. What's one thing you can do today to improve your next audition, even if you're not a professional actor. Maybe it's practicing a cold read, doing some breathing exercises to calm those nerves, or even just reflecting on your own personal strengths and how you can bring those to a role.
It's all about taking small steps to build your confidence and skills. Remember, every audition, every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow.
And sometimes stepping outside of your comfort zone, like Dorothy Kingston is doing, can lead to the most unexpected and rewarding journeys.
Well said. That brings us to the end of another deep dive. As always, we encourage you to continue exploring these topics on your own. Do some research, read some articles, check out that podcast series.
The more you learn, the more you'll discover how everything is interconnected, and the more enriching your experiences will be.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep diving deep.